And thank you for speaking to us today, Natalie. And it's always a pleasure having you speak to our Fibro group. So go ahead and take it away whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, thank you each of you for coming. Appreciate the time that you've taken. And what I'd like you to do is get a piece of paper and a pencil if you don't have one, because I would like you to think about three things as you go along. If I speak about something that sounds interesting that you'd like more information about, then you make a note of that. If you have a question that you don't want to ask right this that minute, you want to wait till the end, then write down that question. Or if you think of somebody that, when I'm speaking about something and you think, oh, so and so might be interested in knowing about that, then write their name down. And then we can maybe be of help to them. So, and then I was wondering if any of you came with a question that you're hoping I'll answer. Does anybody have a particular question that I can make a note of and try and see if I can think of an answer while I'm talking to
Well,
you?
I do have a question I jotted down like on one of my pieces of paper last time when we were supposed to have the meeting on the 12th, but unfortunately I had
Okay.
to reschedule. The question for you, and I'm sure everybody else wants to know, what is your secret to looking so good for your age?
Oh, well, okay. I can answer that easily. When my mother was my age, and people would ask her that question because she was quite alert and active in her church and all, and she'd say, "Well, it's the Lord and the Shackley." So that's a quick answer. Maybe that's not the answer you're looking for, but that's my answer. Okay, that was easy. Anybody else have a question that I should stop and think about a little bit more? Okay, well, then I'll just follow my notes. If you'd see me looking to the side, it's because I have some notes here that I'd like to follow so that I don't get off the track too far. Um, but what I feel in my work is that I have the capacity to give you better health. I give you a gift, which is better health. Of course, whether or not you take the opportunity to change your life, then that's up to you. Whether you apply what you hear. And I think part of the reason that this work became important to me is my history, a little bit of my life history. Here's some more pictures. When I was a little child, as you see, well, this one with the horse, that's me on the horse. And I'd spend some time with my grandparents in the summer on their farm down by Hudson, Michigan. And actually um, went to town with my grandfather on the wagon being pulled by his two work horses. And I don't know if he drove a car or not. I know my grandmother had a car, but I don't recall I was never around when he drove it, if he did. And then the other picture, we lived on a farm for 4 or 5 years, 6 years. And so I think that was, helped me um, learn more about nature. Oh, we have a new person. Good morning, Elizabeth. Good afternoon. Can't see your face, but nice to have you here.
Yep.
My name is Natalie Thurmond. Oh, well, you can read, so you know that. It's on the picture. And so I'm helping you think more about how you can feel better, how you can help yourself and others be more healthy. So anyway, I think that being on the farm made me think more about nature. Of course, I had fresh air, I had homegrown food, had life was a little bit more relaxed, and so um, some of the things that I work with now, also in harmony with nature, sort of went back to that. Um, as CJ mentioned at the beginning, I'm with Shackley, and Dr. Shackley was a real person, in case you don't know that, or if you've never heard of the company. He was a chiropractor, and of course, they're very interested in nutrition. And he um, was oh, a researcher and developed products for his patients in the supplement line, and actually developed the first multivitamin in the United States in 1915. But he then, um, like I said, provided more products for his patients through the years. And then after he retired, he formed the company so that the products could be on the market and available to other people because um, that's the only way they could be used. And he didn't want them sold in stores, so they're sold from friend to friend. And so there's earnings if anybody's interested in that idea. Um, but I had no intention of earning anything. I actually had been a gardener and had a big garden, strawberries and raspberries and green beans and all good stuff. Um, And then I had flowers. I was a seamstress. I sewed my kids' clothes uh, as they grew up and sewed my own clothes, sewed weddings, different things. And I musician, a pianist and organist. And what all I'm saying that is that suddenly I had arthritis in my arm and was in a brace and it hurt badly and I needed my arm for all of those things that I did. And a friend introduced me to a natural way with these supplements. So my doctor gave me a book on how to live with arthritis. And fortunately, I didn't have to because I started on a whole different lifestyle of nutrition. And then since then, that's been 44 years, and I don't have any doctorate degree or nutritionist degree or anything like that, but I've studied and read and listened to lectures and learned um, all these years. So I just pass along ideas. Um, and um, the Lord has helped me share with friends. I have example, well, I've heard that I know there's a statistic that says that 25% of Shackley products are purchased by people who've been with the company 30 years and more. It's when we get there, we want to stay there. When we find a good thing, we stick with it. Um, an example, years ago, a friend of mine had a little baby, a few months old, and she had eczema. And at that point, I didn't know anything about nutrition, not that I know that much now. Um, but I suggested that she try our what's now called body wash. It used to be called Meadow Blend, and for the baby's bath to get something clean and pure for the baby instead of whatever chemicals might be even in Johnson and Johnson and all that stuff. Um, whatever she was using. So anyway, that baby's now 43, and that mom is still my customer. And we talk, they now live in Virginia. No, they moved south to North Carolina. If that's the way it is on the map. And but she calls me every month and we have a wonderful chat and then she puts in her order. So anyway, but what I do now allows me to give to missions and other projects because my husband's work with Ford actually provided my sustenance day to day. Um, I don't know if you've noticed how many people are sick these days. Have you noticed? Sick. And I found out that a um, chronic disease is if you've had something 4 months, it's considered a chronic disease. So if you've been having bad digestion for 4 months, they probably say you have IBS. If you've had problems with your sugar for 4 months, they're probably going to say you're diabetic. The doctors have ways of labeling these things and providing you as many drugs as they can figure that they can get you to take. Um, and the U.S. is 37th in health for industrialized nations. And for all the money that's spent on health care, which is really sick care, we should be first or second, I would think, but we're 37th. And one of the reasons is, for example, in the US, they allow 10,000 different chemicals in our food. Now, not in the same food, of course, but in Europe, it's 400. Think about Fruit Loops. In Canada, they don't allow the colors in the Fruit Loops. Our food industry is not our friend. Neither is Big Pharma. They want to get us sick if they can, and then keep us sick. Just come back every month for your checkup and get your other prescription. So what I work with is I try and help people understand how they can take charge of their health and change some things because the toxins are a real problem. I mean, we have toxins, we have chemicals, like I said, not just in the food. It's in our cleaners, it's in our skincare. It's, of course, we have chlorine in our water and other chemicals. Chemicals, chemicals, chemicals. And then people bring home plug-ins and sprays and bring home, think that they're covering up stuff and they're just adding more chemicals and our body can't handle it very well. And it's not, and that, it's what we breathe and it's what we put on our skin. And there's just thousands of chemicals out there. So one thing I suggest to people is when you go shopping, forget the middle of the store, unless you need toilet paper or olive oil or something. Because all the things that are in boxes and cans are processed. And now at least we can read the back where it says, genetically modified and put that one back on the shelf. At least they have to admit it now. But for example, the way these are affecting things is that back in 1970, 1 out of 10,000 children had autism. And now it's 1 of 31. And in a few years, if it keeps on, it'll be 1 in 2. Now we love the children, of course, and it's not of their fault that they can't live normally, but the parents really suffer, and because 24% of these children can never even take care of themselves, they can't function to properly take care of their daily needs. And then I know there's a big spectrum of what can be done, but I forgot to show you this picture earlier. I wanted to show you this picture. This was a study that a man named Dr. Francis Pottinger did about cats. And what he did was he had all these healthy cats, and then he decided to put them on the standard American diet. You know what that is? SAD, SAD. And so he put them on all this processed food. And the first generation was quite healthy. The second generation, they didn't get sick until the very end of their life. The second generation got sick in the middle of their life. The third generation of cats were like sick right from the beginning, and the fourth generation couldn't reproduce. And I think, wow, I have great grandchildren. If they continue eating what's the normal diet, how many of them are going to be sick in an early age? And then I wanted to show you a picture. My friend had this family in Sturgis, Michigan, and this little girl in the middle was one of those 24% that was not expected to be able to live, independently or normally because of being on that autism spectrum. But her family took charge. I'm not sure exactly what they did, but But here she is a few years later, and they have gotten her brain somehow cleaned out so that she can live a normal life. So there are possibilities out there. And then this is another idea about chemicals in the home. Um, Cleaner. We're either in our clothes, we're in our towels, or we're in our sheets, unless we're 2 years old and younger, and we can run around naked. Um, and there too, even the laundry and stuff can have a lot of chemicals. In the past, I've wondered sometimes about crib death. I wondered if it had anything to do with the sheets, but that was just a wonder. Anyway, here's this little fellow. You can see, well, the story was his mother had a daycare and she was really careful about germs. So her favorite cleaner was she was cleaning with pine salt and Lysol. And her son came home from school and was sitting on the floor and trying to do his homework, and he just could not write his letters. They were just a mess. And then along came a friend who gave her some Shackley cleaners to try. And she thought, okay, I'll try these cleaners. And the boy came home from school and he was so pleased with himself because he could write all his letters perfectly. And she thought, no, it can't be those cleaners. That's just a fluke. So she went back to her old favorites, Lysol and Pine Sol, and the boy again could not do his letters because of the fumes in the air. So there's just a lot of things out there that we can do to help the children that are having a hard time learning too. So, but I don't really have, I can't cure anything, but I can help you think about getting the toxins out of your home with cleaners. And our doctors are trained to give us temporary fixes. And they want to keep you coming back every month, and the pharmaceutical people just want you to stay on their drugs because that's the way they make their money. And that's who trains the doctors, unfortunately. They get like 1 hour of nutrition and 13 years of study or something. But, and then too, as we were starting, before some of you came on, we were talking about being dehydrated. So, I mean, you all know we need exercise every day. You can even do Zumba, and not Zumba, but you can do different things in a chair. Um, we need sleep, good sleep. We need to, give the Lord our problems so that we don't have all the stress. Of course, there's some problems that just don't go away, but still, like CJ's sister or my granddaughters, it doesn't do any good to worry about them. We can be concerned, but we don't, it doesn't do any good to worry about them. That just upsets our gut and everything else. So, dehydration is a problem. So we need to be hydrated. So like I mentioned, eat around the edge of I was at a conference over the weekend, and one of the speakers talked about protein. Now, protein can be beef, it can be chicken, it can be eggs, it can be tuna, it can be pea protein, or it can be soy protein, it can be dairy has some protein, although milk is sort of a processed food now too. But she said that protein is essential for our muscles. And as we get older, our muscles droop a little. We start to droop a little. So we really need to do weight-bearing exercise, lift a few weights. If you don't have weights, use some kind of canned goods or something. We need to walk some, whatever we can do. And we need protein. The older we get, the more protein we need. And of course, we have tremendous proteins that are easy to go with, like plant proteins that you can shake up and drink. But um, here's something to write down. 0.8 times your weight tells you how many grams of protein you're supposed to have a day. And it's astronomical compared to what we're getting. It's like 30 grams of protein a meal or more, depends upon how your weight is. But do any of you know friends that are on one of these new drugs for diabetes or weight loss, quick weight loss? I think they're called, oh, I wrote it down here, GPL or something like that. G, G, GLP-1 drugs. When you lose weight fast, you lose a lot of muscle, not just fat. So these people are going to end up with what's called sarcopenia, which is a wasting away of the body. Their muscles, they're going to lose strength. They're going to be tired. They're going to be in, uh, you know, they think they're doing something good for themselves, but they really need help. So you can share my number and we can help them figure out how to get more protein. I haven't accomplished it yet, but our company provided a protein tracker. I printed it out, but you're supposed to be able to do it on your phone too, and I haven't got that figured out yet. But things like this I can share with people. Um, um, so what we're working on is helping people live age-free because it's not your chronological age that counts, it's how you feel. And this doctor also said muscle is the organ of longevity. She said that um, it's not our skin that's our largest muscle, it's our muscle. Not our skin that's the largest organ, it's the muscles our largest organ. So one thing, let me just share real quickly, and I think we're about ready to go to the next section where then we'll take your questions. We have a program. I have a program that I'm sharing with people. It's going back to the beginning where I began, because Shackley has a new, up-to-date meal replacement stuff. But this is a protein that's really, really good. It comes chocolate and a vanilla, and the program starts, and it comes with that's a month's worth of a probiotic, and it's actually a 2 months worth of a vitamin. And I give it to people. They don't have to be a member, but I give it to them at the member price, and they don't have to pay shipping. I'll deliver it, and it's under $100. And if you don't feel better in a month, you get your money back. So that's something I'm working with. Have this if you want to take a picture, or I can just give you my number at the end. I should have had a slide I have a slide somewhere with my numbers, but I can give that to you. But I think we have 2 minutes and 53 seconds left.
Can you
So
put up that code again? I'm slow with my phone. I
that,
got it.
that'll
Thanks.
give you my phone number, my email address, and I think there's a 1 minute video on there.
Okay.
So,
Got it. See, it's
all
like
right. Okay.
got it.
Okay. Super. Glad to have them. A friend of mine did that for me. I'm not that smart.
That's
And I will
cool.
say the skincare too, we have tremendous skincare. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the Environmental Working Group, but they have put their blessing on 25 of our skincare products. And what they do is they test every ingredient and every product to make it good, to make sure that it's good for the environment. So of course, Dr. Shackley wanted everything to be green. We've had a green cleaner since 1960. We have, you know, all those skincare things are botanical. I didn't get to tell the other lady, I'd love to have a coffee with you to go over whatever questions. You can have a group in your home, and then I bring you free products. I have a coach, which offers three-way calls. If you have particular questions, he can help us figure out what might be helpful. So all those things are available. And then I guess I'll just shut up for a minute and
So you're good. We got 1 minute and 9 seconds left. And the other lady that left, her name's Elizabeth. I think she's in another state. So I don't know if you would be able to go all the way to where she is to
well, you know what? Zoom works anywhere.
well, yeah, that's true too.
And so does FaceTime and just plain phone calls.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. And texting. Yeah, I know her first name was Elizabeth, but I didn't write down her last name.
Oh,
Does
I
anybody
think her
know?
last name is Mead, Mead.
Okay.
I'll have to probably reach out to her later anyway. So we're down to less than 1 minute. I think we're gonna get kicked off any time now. So I guess we can
Yeah.
stop here and then go to the second Zoom session where you can ask your questions to Natalie.
Okay. Well, can we have a minute in between so I can go to the bathroom?
Yeah, that's fine too. We'll wait for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll wait for you in the second session.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
bye for now.